Let's take a look at the newest member of the Toyota lineup, which is the Century SUV. In fact, they're not even calling it SUV, they're just simply calling it New Century. But this is perhaps one of the most exciting vehicles, for me anyway, because I was born and raised in Japan, and I always admired those people who actually can afford and own a Century because it was meant to be a chauffeur-driven car, which means it really was suited only for executive and those people who can afford something so extraordinary and so expensive. But finally, we have an SUV version of the Toyota Century, which is something that we have been predicting for a while because the Best Car magazine in Japan have been talking about it, have been showing us a rendering, which by the way looks a lot like this one, which is a new version, and therefore we are astonished that Best Car magazine has such a close information about the new Century. Anyhow, back to this vehicle. It does look a little bit like a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I'm sure that is not an accidental design, but it has its own flavor. It is a Japanese style, Japanese character, and very much in alignment with Toyota's philosophy of providing something unique and something that is different from other luxury SUVs. And it is designed for a chauffeur-driven environment. So once again, very different from other expensive Toyota or Lexus flagship, and therefore it's going to hold a very unique position within Japan. Now they are calling it a global vehicle, so it will become available in some other markets throughout the world, but we don't know exactly where yet. For sure it's going to be sold in Japan, obviously, but would it ever arrive in North America? Probably not, which is the biggest disappointment. But most likely you will see it in some other areas of the world, maybe in the Middle East or in Europe. Either way, the Century SUV promises to bring a whole new level of luxury, comfort, and refinement never seen in a Toyota. In fact, they're saying it is the quietest Toyota model ever designed, and it has that distinct Century look, but in the SUV package or SUV style. Now, it is very interesting to note that this model actually shares its basic platform with the Lexus TX, which is also shared with Toyota Grand Highlander. So there's something unique about the Century, yet it does borrow some of the engineering and basic architecture from models like the Lexus TX, which is a TNGA-K platform. In fact, even the 3.5-liter V6 engine with a plug-in hybrid, it's basically a similar or more almost identical engine as the one that's offered in the Lexus TX. Obviously, power and torque would be different. By the way, I apologize if I'm making a mistake here and there because it's past midnight here in Vancouver, Canada, and this was just released a few minutes ago. So I'm doing this live stream style, and I'm not going to edit this video and just going to give it to you straight. That way you'll get the story quickly and you'll get to basically hear everything I know about this vehicle without any interruptions or delay. It's just a beautiful vehicle in my opinion. I'm not sure what you think of it, but I think it's an extremely beautiful design inside and out. Although I would admit the interior is simpler than I expected, not as eccentric or not as maybe as impressive as something you might see in a Bentley or Rolls-Royce, but it has again a kind of Century flavor to it. But of course the focal point is the back seat, where you can stretch out like a first class cabin in an airline. It has only 4 seats in the inside, yet it has the same dimension or similar dimension to the Lexus TX and Grand Highlander, which is a 3-row SUV. So imagine taking a large 3-row SUV but only putting 4 seats in it, and that's why it is very suited for a chauffeur type vehicle because there's so much space in the front and also especially in the rear. The rear seats recline almost completely flat, and it has some of the most gorgeous design touches. By the way, even a GRMN version is supposed to be available, and therefore you can get this in a sporty higher performance version with a really cool look that's all blacked out. And that is just one of the options, but it is supposed to be a complete customizable car. In fact, they're saying they can customize almost anything in this vehicle. Just let your dream run. And that means that you can customize everything from color to the material, all of the different type of trims and so forth. And that's what makes this a very special and unique vehicle. Now let's take a look at the dimension as well to give us a little bit of a feel for exactly how big this thing is. Despite the unique aspects of the new Toyota Century SUV, you can tell that it does share platform with the Lexus TX because the dimensions are so similar. So for example, the length of the new Century SUV is 5205 millimeter, which is 204.9 inches, and the Lexus TX is 203.5 inches, so very close. And the width is actually identical at 1990 millimeter, which is 78.3 inches, and that is exactly the same as the Lexus TX width as well. What about the height? Well, it's 1805 millimeter, which is 71 inches, and the TX is 70.1 inches. Once again, less than 1 inch difference. And then here's a telltale sign that the two share the same platform, and that is the fact that the wheelbase is exactly the same at 2950 millimeter, which is 160 inches, and that is the same for both TX and the Century SUV. So as you can tell, it is once again the three-row SUV version of the Toyota model and Lexus model, which is a TX and Grand Highlander, but only squeezing 4 seats, which makes it gigantic inside with a minivan level of space and capacity and comfort. By the way, you can get a normal door that opens 75 degrees, which is really wide, or you can also get a minivan style sliding door, which is absolutely unique in this type of segment. And along with many other things, you can customize it to your liking. So it's a really fascinating model. It is not cheap at all. It's about 250,000 Canadian starting price, and obviously the price will climb up from there based on what options and features you pick. Either way, you know what, it's super exciting just to be able to see the Century SUV for the first time. And even if it doesn't come to North America, you know what, we get something a little bit close to it in the form of Lexus TX, because that model shares the same platform or similar platform with also almost identical powertrain. And therefore, I'm really looking forward to driving the TX because you know what, it probably benefit from some of the design, research and development work that was done for the Century carried over to the TX. Anyhow, are you guys excited about the Century? If you're in Asia or Japan, you can actually buy one, and that would be absolutely dream come true if I were ever able to buy something like that. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions or comments. For now, until next video, I'm signing off for now. Thank you so much.